The end of free advice, how to get paid what you're worth. Hello, everyone. My name is Tessa, and I'm here to introduce you to the host of the Futurist Mindset Show. This is Reagan Rodriguez. Reagan is a futurist that teaches stratosphere wealthy legacy families how to become impact investors. Hi, Reagan. How are you?
I'm doing better than I deserve. How about yourself, Tessa?
Good. I'm doing great, and I honestly I need this show myself. I'm pretty sure.
Well, then I'm going to need you to participate, right? Audience
Yes.
participation, which you're the only audience member that can really, as of now.
Well,
So
I
yeah,
think
no, I'm serious. I want this to be interactive.
yes,
And you're
absolutely.
right, it is appropriate for you. And the reason why I say that is what I'm going to begin with is talking about how when you give free consulting advice, right? Unpaid. And then you know what happens when you do that, because I know you're like me. You like to help people, and
Yes.
sometimes you might get that call and they'll say, "Hey, I know you from here. Can I just get some advice on something computer related?" And then what happens? I can already somewhat guess, but what happens when you give that free consulting advice? What generally happens, Tessa?
Well, they come back and ask more. That's how it goes with me. And
Now, do you think they ask more because it was free, or do you think it's because since they didn't pay for it, they did not do what the first thing you said, and so then they
oh,
go back again, but they didn't do the first half. Talk to me about that, if you
yeah.
will.
No, actually, I find that when you help people, like they'll keep coming back to you, and that's a great thing. But you have to kind of draw a line to say, that's as much as I can give for free, and I know that you're great about giving lots of information on your shows and everything and kind of making it easy to give a little bit to everyone. But I find that most people want to come back and get more advice, and not that they're taking advantage of me. They like the information, or like you said, they didn't fully finish it, or they haven't figured out how to do it on their own, so they come back.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're right. What a good topic. Something you just helped me think about that I'll go over as well is uh, if you are a consultant, you are a coach, I want you to think about this. Generally, people don't ask their friends to pay them when you give them advice, right? You don't give this advice to your friend and say, "Oh, by the way, I'm gonna be sending you an invoice tomorrow."
Right.
Right? That generally doesn't happen. So just think about that, right? Or is it people that are taking a lot of your time that are so-called friends that just want free information, right? Um, I know that when I get advice from something I pay, I'm then going to do it, right? I'm going to follow that advice. So that's a good way to begin. I want you guys to think of this question. Are you tired of giving away free advice for nothing in return? And then I want you to think about this. What if you could, and I'm going to use this word confidently, charge, right? Choose any price you want. But what if you could even do a half day consultation that delivers, value to that client? So one of the things I want to do today is I want to maybe walk you through a few proven strategies that I have in my blueprint at the Fifth Avenue Underground Club. And I know people that have used it to generate money, even in consulting fees. So one thing I want to go over is what's a problem? When you think of a problem, I think of one, and that's when you feel drained by constant, do you got a minute? Or do you mind if I pick your brain moments? Right? You get that too, do you,
Yes.
Tess?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So when you give free advice, most of it isn't, as I mentioned before, even implemented, right? So I want you to think about this because this is when I stopped doing that, is when I said to myself, Regan, how do you feel when you pour out your expertise but you're really undervalued, right? That used to be me. So that's why on today's session, I want to bring something to you that would help you, right? So that you do not end up burnt out. And this happens to a lot of consultants. Sometimes they might even get overwhelmed. And Tessa, raise your hand if you've ever been kind of frustrated from that, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, yes.
I think we
And
all
if I
have.
may, go ahead, please tell me.
Oh, no, I just said we all have, I'm sure, that, in the consulting space, for sure.
Yes. So what I want to do is I want you to have a breakthrough today, right? Because I know for myself, it happened that way. It was just one day I decided to stop giving free advice. And I started charging 25,000 for a full day consultation. So the questions for the advice is what do you think happened when I quoted that price, right? That's the question I was going to say that most people ask. Well, here's the surprising answer. People didn't hesitate. They gladly paid, and it transformed their business model. So I want to also talk about the results. When I started doing this, I then started scheduling appointments that were high ticket consultations. So then the good thing is, here's what that result gave me, Tessa. Number one, I no longer felt undervalued, right? And then number two, and it's really just two things because this second one says it all. The clients walked away with actionable results. Here's the best part, but they keep coming back for more. So I then thought, okay, I want to replicate this model more for my business, right? And so I want to introduce that to you as well. Um, I, one of the things that I teach people, and it's part of what we uh, educate people on the Fifth Avenue Underground Club, is that we have a step by step that's going to give you a growth consulting blueprint, right? So I'm going to show you how you can help businesses grow, scale, and then here's the important thing. I know we've been talking about this for the last few weeks. Identify opportunities. The second thing that my step-by-step system gives you is what I refer to as a sale consult blueprint. What does that mean? That means create game plans that can boost revenue. And that can be anything. I just spoke to somebody 2 days ago that was wanting to acquire this kind of clinic, medical kind of clinic. And I said, I already know one way you could grow the revenue. Just there's account receivables. They haven't called on them. The doctor doesn't have time to call on them. People that work there don't, but you can. So even if you don't get to the point where you strike up a deal to buy that business at zero down, you could do the consulting. You notice earlier, Tessa, when I mentioned I want you to have confidence. So if instead you did this and it brought you confidence that you were able to increase revenue by just contacting their account receivables, then think about it. Now, when you go to acquire a business through seller financing, you'll feel so much confident because you'll be able to say, this is what I do. This is what I've helped others do. And then I'm going to give the third one. What I kind of went over it on the second one because it's similar, the profit consulting blueprint. So this pinpoints strategies to increase the profitability. Okay, so one was number two, seems the same, but it's not. One could be account receivables, okay, or another strategy could be how, which also falls in that same category. Let's minimize expenses. What do we have that comes out monthly? What do we have? Oh my gosh, I don't know if you're like me. That reminds me of things I need to get rid of. It just happened the other day, didn't I? And I really do practice what I teach. I just sent you an email, I think it was last
Yes.
night, and it was something from Bluehost that we use. And I said, just obviously, because I know you helped me with this and on my site stuff. And I said, should I still keep this? Should I renew this? And it wasn't a lot, right? It was just a monthly. I don't remember what it was. And you're like, keep it. So do you see why I'm doing that? In the same way that I help businesses do that, I thought I can increase my bottom line by looking at expenses that get taken out. Do you want to talk on that or add anything to that,
No,
Tessa?
that's really what we want to always be doing with our business is, also I would say on that end of saving money, you can do annual packages and save money like 10, 20, 15, percent, whatever they have. You can usually save money by doing the annual packages if you already know that you're going to be needing that software. So I know with a company that I'm going through with right now, I mean, they negotiated down thousands of dollars in, per month less, and also using software that, there's a lot of technology out there, so you can use better software that maybe is at a lower price point. So kind of reevaluating what you are using and seeing if there's a better option right now.
I said that audience participation would be needed here. I'm so glad you brought that up. This wasn't what I was going to go, and I know we're going out of order, but it's appropriate. Um, you've never acquired a business at zero down. I know it's something
No,
you can do, but
I
do
would
you
love
now
to.
see you knew something that I didn't in that area? What was the name of that software? I had never heard of it before.
Oh, so I use High Level, which is a system that does all the CRM, everything from emailing to funnels and invoicing,
I knew
document
that, but you
creation.
said something about a software program of things that you overcharge or something. Was that what it?
Oh, no, we just literally looked. Unfortunately, we just looked at our monthly expenses. So just printing everything out and saying, "What's that? What's that? What's that?" So
Oh, okay. I
nothing
like that
exciting.
example
I
too.
wish I know there's ones that do it for your phone. They can look at the apps that you've signed up on your phone with, but this, yeah, it was just literal, checking everything and making sure that we needed it. And that's just looking down the bank statements.
So that's a good example, okay? That let's assume you were wanting to buy a business, all seller financing. Again, it works to your advantage when you don't have money. Remember, I gave the example like my friend Jeremy that was acquired several telecom companies because of that, or because of the fact that he didn't have money. Remember the example that he
Yeah.
said the guy kept saying another, how about at least put 2,000 down? And he's like, I have that, but I also have to pay my rent, right? And so it worked to his advantage because he didn't have to lie or deceive. Well, guess what? Now let's think about this. You look at a business, let's just find one you think of in your area. You ask them if they thought of an exit strategy. Obviously, you're going to say the first thing I need to know is what do the numbers look like? What are the expenses? So it's like perfect example. And I have sheets like that. This is great. You said you printed something out. You could do that as well. And now, speaking of consulting, you'd say to that business owner that you're thinking about acquiring, you haven't made a deal yet, you wanted to see the numbers, say, thank you for your accountant or whoever sent me a printout of all the expenses. I'm looking at some of these. Tell me about this. Oh, that's a service we have to have. Gets taken out every month. It's 2,000 a month. And what's the name of that company again? You didn't, it's vague. Okay. And what do they do? Well, it's this security system for our email system or well, you would say, thank you. You don't have to say anything else and say, oh, I can get that for you for 500 bucks, right? But you'd say, I know about a program like that can do it for 500. Now let's assume you couldn't. This is why I said it works to your advantage when you don't have money and you're brutally honest, no deceiving. You now contact that company and you're going to say the truth. I'm thinking about acquiring a company. I've talked with Mr. So and so business owner that owns this. He gave me this number I know he uses. As a matter of fact, the customer number I'm looking at here is 904. And you give them, they go, oh, yes, 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 we know XYZ business. Say, look, I have not acquired it yet. Thinking about it. And part of the things I'm looking at is how much they've got going out. And this 2,000 a month is a lot. Can we do something here? Can we work on it? Because if not, remember, I'm thinking about acquiring it. And if I do decide to acquire it, we could find somebody else that could do it for 500 because I found another company. And then they'd say, well, Tessa, you need to understand this program does a little bit more. Well, we don't need all of that. Well, here's what we can do. We have another version that's a little bit less for 700. We'll take that one. Now we don't have to switch anything, but remember that I said when you do the seller financing, the seller gets paid on all the revenue that comes in, but what you're going to negotiate is anything at all. And that's the way the contract's going to read. Anything you can do to raise that monthly revenue goes to you. If he or she agrees to that, and then we sign, and you got it at something that was 2,000, and now you got it to 700, let's say, right? Now, what did that do? That just increased your revenue by 1,300 a month. You're making 1,300 a month. So if you didn't have the guts to go in and say, I'm going to acquire the business, and instead you did a consulting package like that, you're not doing too bad at month one, and we haven't even gone through the other lists of stuff. Okay? So anyone can do something like that. In our blueprint on the Fifth Avenue Underground Club, it's really designed to help you confidently be able to lead high-level value consultations. It's also going to give you an opportunity to provide your clients with tangible results. We're also going to eliminate the stress of figuring out what to say. So here's a question for all of you. If you knew exactly what to say, ask, and deliver during that consultation, then how much would you feel confident charging? I want you to also think about this. This is perfect for you if, as I mentioned at the beginning, you're tired of giving free advice, but still want to help people. You know your expertise is value, but you struggle to charge what you're worth. Or number three, you want a structured roadmap to kind of deliver those results to be able to drive those consultations. So I know sometimes we might feel unsure about our pricing services. This is also something that I teach people. I want you to kind of gain exact questions that you're going to ask before, during that consultation. I also provide people a roadmap so that, as I mentioned before, I want you to be confident when you're delivering those results, even if you're new to acquisitions or consulting of this style. I want to also give you strategies where you're going to learn how to turn those clients' expenses into profits. And then I'm also going to give you a clear system to close every consultation on a high note. Another thing that I thought of that I wanted to also add is just kind of as a final thought, if you're ready to stop giving away your time for free and you want to start building a business that pays you what you're worth, then I encourage you to get started on something like this. Another question for you to think on here. Are you ready to take control of your expertise that you have and then turn that into something that can be profitable for you? Okay, you want to think like an investor. In other words, you want to adopt the mindset of acquiring businesses to achieve that rapid growth. You want to find quality deals. Okay, so identify the business, identify those businesses that are ripe for acquisitions. Third thing you want to do is fund the deals, right? I'm going to teach you how to explore various strategies to finance acquisitions, including methods that require no personal capital. And then the last one is, after all that's done, you then buy the business, right? You execute the acquisition and you do it with the right agreements that I'm going to give you and the due diligence to ensure that successful transition. I've gone through quite a bit. I was looking to see if I have any other notes to share. Any questions that you have on this or things that I maybe went over that we can
No,
expand on?
I think it's great. I think you've got so much that you've packed into the underground club for sure. I mean, I think that people might want to know how to get to find out more about it. So obviously, we do have a website coming out soon that will be for this, but you can reach out to Reagan early at Fifth Avenue Capital's website and do the contact form and just let them know what you're looking to that you're looking to find out more about this. So it's 5thaavc.com. And so did you have any other final thoughts, Reagan, that you wanted to share? You're good.
No, I don't.
There's
I
so
don't.
much.
I think I gave so much info
You
that
did.
if I did, it's kind of like information overload. Yeah.
No, it's great. It's great. And I love the way that you teach too. So we think that would be
Thank
very
you.
a good idea for you if you're considering it. Just reach out and find out more about it for sure. And if you haven't already, hit the bell to get notifications when we go live. We're live on Fridays at noon Eastern time, and you can